Do you know what the most frustrating part of a spiritual journey is? Often, you do everything right. You pray, light candles, perform cleansings, visit spiritual healers, consult with psychics, carry talismans, and yet, something within you still feels stuck, as if an invisible part of your being is bound by a chain you can't see or explain. No matter how hard you try to move forward, that chain pulls, slows you down, weighs you down. I know this. I've seen it hundreds of times. Devout, committed individuals, yet spiritually blocked. This leads to the inevitable question: what else am I missing? Why do I feel like nothing changes? Where is the blind spot? Today, I want to get straight to the point. What I'm about to reveal might sound strange at first, but I assure you it's more powerful than you can imagine. I'm not here to repeat what you already know or give you false hopes. I'm here to share a secret that Saint Cyprian, the most powerful of the dark saints, kept closely guarded, which can transform your life if you choose to apply it with true faith. And I won't wait until the end to tell you, because you're not here to waste time. The secret is this: place a specific consecrated mixture on your belly button, and you will break the cycle of curses, blockages, and negative energies that have haunted you for years. It's that clear, that simple. Yes, I said your belly button, that spot many consider just a trivial mark. But according to the secret teachings of Saint Cyprian, it's actually a spiritual portal, a center of connection to invisible forces that might be controlling your destiny without your knowledge. Consider this: your belly button was your first channel of life, the way your body received nourishment and energy from your mother's womb. But according to ancient texts from Saint Cyprian, it was also the first place where you absorbed spiritual burdens that weren't yours. The unresolved pain of your ancestors, the envy directed toward your family, the dark work done against your parents, the unfulfilled promises of previous generations, all of it could have infiltrated through there. Now, you might be thinking this sounds too mystical or strange, but Saint Cyprian, who mastered both light and dark forces before his conversion, made it clear in his secret grimoire that the body has vulnerable points where negative energies can enter more easily. And the belly button, that point that remains a reminder of our first connection to this world, is the main entryway that many witches and sorcerers use to send their most potent workings. But you can also use it to protect and free yourself. This knowledge has been kept secret for centuries, shared only among the most initiated. But today, I reveal it to you because it's time for you to reclaim your spiritual freedom. In the hidden wisdom of Saint Cyprian, the belly button is not just a physical mark, but an energy node that continues to function as a channel after birth. Imagine your body as a spiritual fortress. Your prayers, candles, and amulets act like guards at the main gates. But what good are they if there's a secret passageway that no one is watching? That passageway is your belly button. While you protect your mind with positive thoughts and your heart with faith, your belly button remains a blind spot, an unguarded entry point through which negative energies, curses, and witchcraft can still seep in. It's like having a house with alarms on the doors and windows, but a hole in the back wall. That's where spiritual thieves enter, robbing you of prosperity, health, and love. In the esoteric teachings of Saint Cyprian, it's explained that when a witchcraft working doesn't succeed through usual methods, experienced witches target the victim's belly button directly because they know there's no resistance there. Have you ever wondered why you feel a knot in your stomach when you're nervous or scared, or why many ancient cultures specifically protected this area of the body with amulets and sacred paints? It's because, instinctively, the body knows there's a vulnerable point that needs special protection. Today, we will reclaim that ancestral knowledge that Saint Cyprian preserved in his most secret texts. People often tell me, "I've tried everything. I've gone to the best healers, followed cleansing rituals, consulted psychics, performed powerful prayers. Why do I feel like I can't break free?" And my answer is always the same. There are curses that can't be lifted by conventional methods. There are dark works that anchor in places where regular cleansings can't reach. According to the most reserved texts of St. Cyprian, the belly button is one of those critical points. When an experienced witch wants to ensure their dark work remains, they direct it precisely to this point. It's like planting a seed in fertile soil. Once the negative work anchors in your belly button, it can resist prayers, candles, cleansings, and even minor exorcisms. The signs are clear. You feel like you're making some progress only to take 2 steps back. You start a business that fails for no apparent reason. You begin a promising relationship and suddenly everything falls apart. Your health improves, then worsens with no medical explanation. These are signs that something or someone is manipulating your destiny from a deep level. What I'm proposing is not a complicated or costly ritual. You don't need intermediaries or elaborate ceremonies. It's an act of faith and personal protection that St. Cyprian revealed only to his closest disciples. This practice is neither witchcraft nor superstition. It is deep spiritual protection. It is closing a door that has been open for too long. It's about taking control over your spiritual destiny, your vital energy, your connection to the divine. Before we continue, if this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe. This channel reveals spiritual secrets that few dare to share. Before applying this powerful belly button ritual that St. Cyprian revealed, it's important to recognize if you're truly under negative influences or curses. Observe your life honestly and look for these revealing signs. Do you experience repeated failures without logical explanation? Do you feel that whenever something good is about to happen, an unexpected obstacle appears? Do your relationships follow destructive patterns over and over again? Physically, do you feel an inexplicable weight in your body? Do you experience chronic fatigue that no doctor can diagnose? Do you have recurring dreams involving threatening people, animals, or situations? According to St. Cyprian's texts, when a curse or dark work is anchored in your belly button, you may experience very specific sensations. A strange heat or cold in the abdominal area, especially at night. Sharp pains that come and go for no reason. A feeling of emptiness or pressure in the stomach, unrelated to hunger. It's also common to feel as if something is constantly watching you, to wake up between 2 and 4 a.m. for no apparent reason, or to feel that no matter how much you cleanse your house or your aura, the heaviness returns quickly. If you recognize 3 or more of these signs in your life, it's very likely that you have a spiritual blockage anchored precisely in your belly button, that point that St. Cyprian identified as the most vulnerable to dark works, but also as the most powerful for your liberation. According to the esoteric teachings of St. Cyprian, your spiritual destiny doesn't begin with you. Before you were born, a web of influences, pacts, promises, and spiritual debts had already been woven into your lineage. Imagine for a moment that your spiritual family is like a spider web. You are born within that network. While you are unique, you carry invisible threads that connect you to that ancestral story. Some of those threads are blessings, giving you strength, protection, and special gifts. But others are burdens, curses pronounced against your ancestors, dark pacts made in moments of desperation, envies that crystallized into works of black magic. And all of this, according to the oldest texts of St. Cyprian, is mainly transmitted through the umbilical cord during gestation and remains anchored in your belly button after birth. It's as if that point is a node in the family network, an anchor keeping you tied to the spiritual debts of the past. That's why some people are born marked by bad luck, poverty, illness, or romantic failures, repeating patterns that go back generations. The belly button ritual of St. Cyprian is mainly transformed. Cyprian precisely cuts those negative threads that bind you to inherited suffering. Now let's get to the essentials, the preparation of the sacred mixture that Saint Cyprian revealed to seal and protect the belly button. This formula is not a modern invention or a commercial adaptation. It's recorded in the original manuscripts that only true masters of his arts have been able to consult. The mixture consists of 3 elements with deep spiritual power. First, virgin olive oil. Not just any oil, but one that ideally has been blessed in 7 different churches. If this isn't possible, you can bless it yourself with sincere faith, praying 7 Our Fathers while holding it in your hands. In the tradition of Saint Cyprian, olive oil represents the divine light that dispels darkness, the sacred anointing that marks what is protected by higher forces. Second, unrefined sea salt. The salt should be natural, not chemically processed. Ideally, you should expose it to the light of the full moon for a whole night before using it. In the ancient grimoires of Saint Cyprian, salt represents absolute purification, the element that exorcises and repels all negative energy. That's why salt is used in so many protection rituals in the 4 corners of a house. Third, 3 dried bay leaves crushed into a fine powder. Bay, in the esoteric tradition that Saint Cyprian mastered, is the seal that closes spiritual portals, the plant that confuses evil spirits and breaks mental control spells. Ancient oracles chewed bay leaves to connect with divine visions and repel dark influences. When these 3 ingredients are combined with sacred intention, following the exact proportions established by Saint Cyprian, they create a spiritual seal that no negative entity can penetrate. The moment to perform this protection and liberation ritual for the belly button must be carefully chosen. According to the teachings of Saint Cyprian, the best days are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, preferably during the waning phase of the moon, as this is when negative energies are weakest and can be expelled more easily. The ideal hour is between 8 and 9 p.m., known in esoteric terms as the hour of personal power, when your vital energy is balanced, neither too active like during the day, nor too receptive like in the early morning. Begin by creating a sacred space. You don't need an elaborate altar, but you do need a clean, quiet place where you won't be interrupted. Light a white candle representing divine light, and if possible, a small green candle, a color Saint Cyprian associated with breaking curses. Take the mixture you prepared with the 3 sacred ingredients. It should have the consistency of a slightly liquid paste. With the index finger of your right hand, or left if you are left-handed, take a small amount. Before applying it, say this prayer that Saint Cyprian himself taught. By the power of Saint Cyprian, master of the visible and invisible, I seal this portal of my body against all evil influence. May what is not mine dissolve. May what harms me stay away. May what blesses me remain. Now, with circular motions in the direction of the clock hands, gently apply the mixture on your belly button. Do this for at least a minute, breathing deeply. It's normal to feel intense sensations: heat, cold, tingling, even slight dizziness. These are signs that stagnant energies are beginning to move. Some people experience a sudden emotion, tears, nervous laughter, or even slight trembling. Don't be scared. According to Saint Cyprian, these are reactions of the energetic body freeing itself from deep blockages, especially if you've been under negative influences for a long time. Once the mixture is applied, remain silent for a few minutes, feeling how a new protection settles within you. It's important to understand that the results of this powerful ritual of Saint Cyprian are not always instant or spectacular. Don't expect explosions of light or miraculous changes the next day. Deep spiritual liberation works like healing a wound, gradual, constant, and from the inside out. According to the sacred texts, the first signs that the ritual is working typically appear around the 3rd day. You may experience a particularly vivid dream where you see yourself freed from chains, cords, or bindings. Many people report waking up with an inexplicable sense of lightness, as if an invisible weight has been lifted. On a physical level, it's common to feel more energy, a balanced appetite, or an improvement in chronic digestive issues. This makes sense, as you're liberating and sealing an energy point that's directly connected to your digestive system. Emotionally, you'll notice greater mental clarity, less anxiety, and a reduction in those obsessive negative thoughts that seem to have no origin. In terms of your external life, changes usually manifest within 3 moons, approximately 3 months. Opportunities that were previously blocked begin to flow. Toxic relationships dissolve naturally, and resources that seemed unattainable start to appear. Many people are surprised when I talk about curses in the 21st century, as if they were things of movies or ancient superstitions. But in the texts of St. Cyprian, that great master of invisible forces, it's clearly explained that curses are as real today as they were centuries ago. Only they operate in more subtle ways. What is a curse according to these sacred texts? It's not just someone dramatically shouting, "I curse you." A curse is a negative energetic programming, an interference in your spiritual field that alters the natural flow of your destiny. St. Cyprian identified several types of curses that can specifically anchor in the belly button. Blood curses, transmitted through genetic lines, are the most powerful. They occur when one of your ancestors was ritually cursed or when an ancestor made a dark pact that went unfulfilled. These curses manifest as repetitive family patterns. All the men in the family die young. All the women suffer abandonment. No one manages to prosper no matter how hard they try. Curses from envy, consciously sent by people who wish you harm. They are recognized because your successes fade quickly, or you experience accidents or losses just when you're achieving something important. Bindings and directed works, carried out by practitioners of dark arts hired to harm you. Their clearest sign is a sudden and drastic change in your fortune, relationships, or health without any apparent cause. Self-curses, generated by your own repetitive negative thoughts, reckless oaths, "I will never be happy," "I will always be alone," or unresolved deep guilt. According to St. Cyprian, all these negative influences can be removed when the belly button is properly sealed, as that's where these energies feed on your vital force. In the ancient grimoires of St. Cyprian, a fascinating phenomenon is explained that modern science is just beginning to understand: energetic transmission between human beings and across generations. The belly button plays a central role in this process. When a mother is pregnant, she not only transmits nutrients to her child through the umbilical cord, she also transmits emotional states, energies, and even spiritual influences she has received from her own ancestors. If that mother lived under the effects of dark workings, deep fears, or family curses, part of that burden passes to the baby. That's why some children are born with what we call bad star, an inexplicable predisposition to bad luck, illnesses, or difficulties that have no apparent physical or genetic cause. St. Cyprian also described how certain people with dark abilities can send negative energies directly to the belly button of their victims, especially during sleep. When you sleep, your energetic body is more vulnerable, and these nighttime attacks explain why many people wake up inexplicably tired or distressed. Another method of transmission that St. Cyprian warned about is through negatively charged objects placed near the victim's belly button, seemingly innocent gifts, amulets, or even ritualistically manipulated photographs. The good news is that just as these negative influences can enter through the belly button, they can also be expelled and permanently blocked through the same point, using the sacred ritual we are revealing. What makes curses and dark workings so effective is precisely their invisibility. You can't see the spiritual interference, but you feel its effects constantly, like a radio that can't clearly tune in to a station. St. Cyprian explained that curses anchored in the belly button function like an energetic parasite. They feed on your vitality and distort the way you manifest your reality. It's like having a virus on your computer. The hardware works, but the programs constantly fail. Observe these revealing patterns. You start projects with enthusiasm but lose energy just before completing them. You meet wonderful people, but something always goes wrong. You have the skills needed to thrive, yet you encounter illogical obstacles. These are signs of interference. It's not your imagination or bad luck. It's negative programming operating from an invisible level. Most spiritual cleansings only affect the surface of your energetic field. It's like dusting off a screen without removing the virus from the system. That's why they provide temporary relief, but the problems return. The belly button ritual of St. Cyprian is different. It goes directly to the core, to the point where negative programming is anchored. It not only cleanses, but also permanently seals that vulnerable point against future interferences. One of St. Cyprian's most valuable teachings is that the spiritual always seeks to manifest in the physical. Energetic attacks and curses anchored in the belly button eventually produce very specific bodily symptoms. The first sign is often a feeling of heaviness or cold in the abdominal area that no doctor can diagnose. Many people with blockages in the belly button suffer from chronic digestive issues, gas, bloating, acidity, irritable bowel syndrome. Modern medicine treats them as functional disorders, but St. Cyprian identified them as manifestations of spiritual interference. Another revealing symptom is spots or discolorations around the belly button, sometimes so subtle that they are only noticeable under certain light. According to ancient texts, these are visible energetic shadows. Sharp pains that come and go for no reason, especially between 2 and 4 a.m., the most spiritually vulnerable hour, are another classic indicator. Perhaps the most overlooked symptom is the feeling of emotional emptiness centered in the solar plexus. That inexplicable sadness that seems to come from the center of the body, and that no antidepressant can completely eliminate. These physical discomforts are neither imaginary nor psychosomatic. They are the material manifestation of an attack that began on the spiritual plane, and that the belly button ritual can resolve definitively. The belly button ritual that St. Cyprian revealed is not just an act of spiritual cleansing. It is a divine sealing, a consecration of your vital center. In the esoteric tradition, sealing means establishing a permanent barrier that no negative force can cross. When you apply the sacred mixture to your belly button with the right intention and the appropriate prayers, you are performing an act of spiritual sovereignty. You are declaring, "This portal belongs to me, and I consecrate it to the light." St. Cyprian taught that this sealing has 3 levels of protection. First, it expels all negative energy that is already installed in your belly button. Like a focused exorcism, the sacred mixture literally burns the spiritual bindings and dissolves energy blockages. Second, it establishes a permanent shield that repels new attacks. Once properly sealed, your belly button ceases to be a vulnerable point and becomes a center of active protection. Third, it begins to radiate positive energy throughout your being. Instead of being a point of drain, your belly button transforms into a source of vitality that nourishes your entire energetic field. The more advanced texts of St. Cyprian explain that a person with a properly sealed belly button develops a special intuition for detecting spiritual dangers. It's as if the very energy center warns you when someone with bad intentions approaches or when you're about to enter a negatively charged place. This protection is not temporary like that of a candle or an amulet. It is a permanent change in your energetic structure. Before performing the belly button ritual, it's crucial to correctly identify whether you are under the influence of a curse or negative work. St. Cyprian described unmistakable signs that reveal spiritual interference in your life. recurring dreams where you are chased, attacked, or where you can't move. These are not just simple nightmares, but manifestations of entities or energies that operate while you sleep. Finding strange objects near your home, coins in specific positions, red or black threads, small mounds of dirt, broken eggs. These are remnants of workings specifically directed against you. Experiencing the feeling of being constantly watched, especially when you are alone. Noticing that animals behave strangely around you, dogs that growl for no reason, birds suddenly entering your home, insects appearing in unusual patterns. Suffering financial losses in perfect cycles. Every time you accumulate a certain amount, an unexpected expense occurs that leaves you with nothing. Seeing new objects deteriorate rapidly for no logical explanation. Feeling sudden temperature changes in certain areas of your home, especially near your bed. Hearing your name when you're alone or about to fall asleep. If you experience 3 or more of these signs, it's almost certain that there is a spiritual interference acting against you, and the belly button ritual of St. Cyprian is exactly what you need. What makes invisible forces truly dangerous is that they operate outside of our conscious perception. As St. Cyprian taught, what you do not see can dominate you without your knowing. These negative energies anchored in your belly button act like subliminal programming, subtly altering your decisions, emotions, and even thoughts. They make you believe that you are the one choosing failure, loneliness, or suffering, when in reality you are being manipulated from a deep level. The first step to liberating yourself is to recognize this influence. Accept that not everything that happens to you is your destiny or your karma, but possibly the result of directed energetic interferences. The belly button ritual that St. Cyprian revealed is so powerful precisely because it breaks this invisible programming. It not only cleanses the negative energy, but also returns control over your own spiritual field. It is a declaration of energetic independence, an act of reclaiming your spiritual sovereignty. It's important to know that when you perform this powerful belly button ritual, you may experience what St. Cyprian called the resistance of darkness. When you begin to free yourself from deeply rooted negative influences, they won't leave without a fight. Some people experience a brief period of intensification of problems right after starting the ritual. Others feel temporary physical symptoms, headaches, dizziness, changes in sleep or appetite. Some even face unexpected situations that seem to want to prevent them from continuing the liberation process. Don't be scared or discouraged. These are signs that the ritual is working, that the negative energies are being expelled from your system. St. Cyprian explained it clearly. When darkness screams, it's because the light is winning. Persist with faith and determination. These challenges are temporary and precede a deep and permanent liberation. What you have endured for years cannot be removed without some resistance. One of the deepest aspects of the belly button ritual that St. Cyprian revealed is that its power is not limited to just you. When you seal and purify your belly button following these sacred instructions, you are also freeing your ancestors and protecting your descendants. In esoteric wisdom, the belly button is the connection point to your lineage. It is the node where the energies of your ancestors converge. When you break a curse or blockage at this point, the liberation travels like a wave through your family tree. Many report that after performing this ritual, they feel a profound sense of peace when thinking of deceased relatives who suffered similar issues. Others notice that their children or nephews begin to show positive changes without apparent explanation. St. Cyprian taught, "What is not spiritually cleansed spreads like disease through the blood. What is purified multiplies as a blessing to the 7th generation." This explains why the belly button ritual sometimes triggers vivid dreams with ancestors or feelings of benevolent presences in the days following its completion. It's your lineage responding to the liberation. By sealing your belly button, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing an entire generational line. You are closing cycles of suffering that may have been open for decades or even centuries. Saint Cyprian understood something that many spiritual texts overlook. Your personal liberation has a collective impact. When you break the spiritual chains anchored in your belly button, you create a ripple of healing. First, your immediate family begins to experience changes. Conflicts that seemed eternal find resolution without apparent explanation. Relationships that were fractured start to heal. Then your social environment transforms. Toxic individuals naturally drift away, while positive connections strengthen. It's as if the universe is reorganizing your world to reflect your new vibration. Finally, even your future lineage is protected. The children you have yet to conceive will be born free of the burdens you have eliminated. As Saint Cyprian taught, one single spiritual warrior who liberates can break the chains of 1,000 souls. Your brave act of performing this ritual is not selfish. It is a service to your entire lineage. The belly button ritual we are revealing is not a spiritual trend or a modern invention. It is firmly rooted in the ancestral wisdom that Saint Cyprian preserved in his most secret texts. Saint Cyprian, before his conversion, mastered both dark arts and the powers of light. This duality gave him a unique understanding of how invisible forces operate and how to protect oneself from them. After his spiritual transformation, he chose to reveal this knowledge only to those seeking genuine protection. In ancient grimoires, the belly button is mentioned as the earthly star, an energy point that reflects our connection to the cosmos, but also our most basic vulnerability. Ancient cultures around the world, from Egypt to China, from Mayan traditions to Celtic ones, had specific practices to protect this area. Abdominal amulets, body paints focused on the belly button, jewelry, and talismans specifically designed to cover this point. It's no coincidence that in so many representations of deities and protective beings, the belly button is marked, covered, or adorned in a special way. It's the universal recognition that this point is both a portal of power and vulnerability. Saint Cyprian simply recovered and systematized this ancestral knowledge in a simple yet extraordinarily effective ritual. Now it's time to learn exactly how to perform the belly button ritual according to the precise instructions of Saint Cyprian. For optimal results, follow these steps with sincere faith and spiritual determination. First, prepare the sacred space. Choose a quiet place where you won't be interrupted for at least 30 minutes. Physically clean the area and then energetically purify it by passing copal incense or white sage if you have it available. If you don't have these, a lit white candle with purifying intention is sufficient. Place a small glass or ceramic container, never metallic, in the center of your space. This will hold the sacred mixture. For the preparation of the mixture, you will need 2 tablespoons of virgin olive oil, half a teaspoon of unrefined sea salt, 3 dried bay leaves crushed into fine powder. First, pour the oil into the container. As you do so, recite, "By the power of the light that penetrates all, I consecrate this oil as a divine shield." Add the sea salt, saying, "By the purifying power of the earth and sea, may all negative energy be dissolved and transmuted." Finally, add the powdered bay, pronouncing, "By the sacred seal of spiritual victory, may all portals be closed against the forces of darkness." With a wooden spoon, preferably, or your right index finger, mix the ingredients in a clockwise direction exactly 21 times, visualizing how the mixture begins to shine with golden or white light. While mixing, recite this central prayer of the ritual. Saint Cyprian, master of the visible and invisible mysteries, you who know the secrets of light and darkness, bless this sacred mixture. Through it, may all dark work be dissolved, every curse be broken, and every spiritual attack be repelled. By your intercession, I seal my belly button as a portal of my body and temple of my spirit. Amen. The mixture should rest on the makeshift altar for at least 7 minutes before being used. During this time, you can meditate, pray, or simply keep your mind focused on the intention of liberation and protection. Once the sacred mixture has rested for the necessary time and is charged with the energy of your intention and prayers, it's time to apply it according to the exact method that St. Cyprian prescribed. With the index finger of your dominant hand, right if you are right-handed, left if you are left-handed, take a generous amount of the mixture. The amount should be enough to completely cover your belly button. Before applying, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. With each exhalation, imagine releasing tension, fear, and stagnant energies. Now, apply the mixture directly onto your belly button with circular motions in the direction of the clock hands. As you do this, recite these words of power. With this sacred anointing, I, say your full name, break every chain, dissolve every spell, nullify every curse that has been placed upon me, my blood, or my destiny. By the power of St. Cyprian, I declare my belly button sealed and consecrated to the divine light. Continue applying the mixture for at least 3 minutes, maintaining constant circular movements. It's crucial not to stop or change the direction of the movement, as this represents the uninterrupted flow of purifying energy. Many people experience intense sensations during this phase: sudden heat or cold, tingling, pulsations, or even unexpected emotions like crying or laughter. These are positive signs of energetic release. Once the application is complete, place both hands over your belly button, one on top of the other, and hold this position for 7 complete breaths. With each inhalation, visualize golden or white light filling your belly button and expanding throughout your body. With each exhalation, imagine darkness, density, or black smoke leaving and dissolving. Conclude the ritual by saying, "It is done. I am protected. I am free. I thank you for this divine liberation." You have learned one of the most powerful secrets that St. Cyprian reserved for those who truly seek spiritual liberation. The belly button ritual is simple in execution but profound in impact. As you have discovered, this point that many ignore can be the key to your complete transformation. To maximize the results, repeat this ritual for 7 consecutive nights, ideally at the same time each night. Persistence is key, as each application reinforces the protective seal and deepens the purification. Remember that true protection combines physical action with spiritual intention. The ritual does not work like automatic magic, but as a channel for your own determination to be free. If you have felt a resonance with these teachings, I invite you to share your experiences in the comments. Your testimony may be the light that guides another on their path to liberation. And if you know someone who struggles with inexplicable obstacles, who faces persistent blockages, or who you feel is under negative influences, share this sacred knowledge. St. Cyprian taught that true spiritual wisdom must circulate to multiply its power. May the light that now protects your vital center expand to every aspect of your life, breaking every curse, opening every blocked path, and restoring your true spiritual destiny.